Hello everyone, welcome back to Financial Tech Lab. Today I am in unfamiliar territory because I am going to be demoing Xero for you today. And remember that Financial Tech Lab is all about testing different types of financial software, and we are kicking off our GL series, our General Ledger series, with Xero. You know I've been a QuickBooks girly for a really long time, and now it's time to test out something different. So I thought Xero is the perfect place to start. So we are going to dive in and start looking at how to do a month of bookkeeping in Xero. So what I've done is I've actually uploaded real data, and I have looked at January, February, March already in the system as I was getting used to it and testing it. And now we're going to reconcile and do the month of April bookkeeping in the Xero system. So let's go ahead and dive right in, and I'm going to walk you guys through how to do a month of bookkeeping in Xero. Okay, so here we are in the Xero platform. And so you're going to have a homepage here like this. And so you can customize this. You can go up here to the edit homepage. That is not important for the purposes of finishing a month of bookkeeping though. So we're going to kind of skip over that. And then if you guys want more information about how to set up Xero, I think we can definitely talk about how to customize the dashboards, and we can do that in a future video. Basically, when you're doing bookkeeping, what you need to do is you need to categorize all the transactions from all your different accounts, and then you need to reconcile your books, and then you need to look at financial statements. And so we have done a video on how to do a month of bookkeeping in QuickBooks. It is one of our most popular videos on the channel. And so I figured that, some of us are looking for alternatives to QuickBooks Online. Let's check it out and let's do it in Xero as well. Xero navigation is like fairly easy. You have a couple of different ways. So over here in the tasks, I can easily click here where it's saying, hey, go to items to reconcile in these different accounts. It's telling me I have some things to reconcile here. I can also go up to accounting and go to bank accounts to get to my bank accounts to reconcile them. And those are the main ways that I know how to get to them right now. So I'm gonna show you, if you just click directly here, let's look at the credit card first. It will take you to this screen. And this screen is kind of where the magic happens. This is the categorization screen. Now, just going up to accounting and then bank accounts, you will then be able to look at your different bank accounts and then click on these reconcile these items here. So I'm going to actually start with the credit card because it has the most activity. So let's go there first because I would just want to show you guys how to make this happen. So on the reconcile screen, there is this reconcile tab is where we are right now. And basically what we need to do is we need to tell the system that says like, hey, the bank statement line item came in over here on the left. What do we want that transaction to look like in Xero? So this is where we code the transaction, and this is where we say who it's from. So if it's a certain vendor, this is where you want to put that vendor name. Or if you need to match it, so you have the match, create, transfer, and discuss. So match is going to be like if it's already, a transfer that was already recorded in the from another account, you can match it to that. Or maybe if you had an invoice in the system, you could match it to that, or a bill in the system, it would match to that. Or if you just need to create something new. So we need to create something new because this is just a new expense. And this is coming in from Squarespace, I know that. So let's see if we can find Squarespace already in the system. We can. And then Squarespace is related to website. So I did not customize the chart of accounts for this company at all. So the only thing I did was like add some bank accounts. So it's not going to match perfectly my QuickBooks financials, but it's just I'm just giving you guys an example of how to do the month of bookkeeping. And then if you want to answer, I like the simplicity of Xero in that it's like who, what, why, like who did it come from? What is it? And then why? If you want to type in a description, you can. And all you have to do to kind of add it to the ledger and add it to the accounting record is just click OK. The way that Xero does this, it recognizes it as like reconciled once you add it. Like if we go up here to account transactions and we find that Squarespace line item that we just did, it's calling it reconciled. We haven't done the reconciliation yet. We're going to do that in a second. It's over here on the reconcile period tab. I've already reconciled through April 9th, which was the last closing period of the credit card. But we're going to get to that, so don't worry. We're walking through Xero today. If you are interested in testing out Xero, you can go to financialtechlab.com/Xero. And currently the offer that we have for you, now it won't be the same forever. This is what we have right now, is 90% off for 6 months. So if you're interested in testing out Xero, you can go and check out financialtechlab.com/Xero and go ahead and get your discount for 6 months. The pricing is available here. You can go and check it out. The pricing, when you click over, it might just look like the previous pricing. So make sure that you use the link to be able, because the deal that you get when you just go directly to their website is not going to be good as the deal that you get when you use our link. So make sure if you are interested in trying out, that you use that. All right, let's get back to the tutorial. So let's just keep going here. Okay, we had a charge from Alaska Air. This is hit. Okay, it recognized it as telephone and internet, probably because the last charge that we had in the system was for a Wi-Fi fee. So instead, this is going to be for travel. I'm going to change that to travel and then click OK. Alaska Air, we're going to change this to travel. And then click OK. So Xero is learning if you are coding things to a certain vendor, it's going to assume that that same, whatever you coded that vendor to the first time is going to be the same. You can create rules. So I saw another video that had the options to create bank rules right here. So if you want to do that, you can. So like, for example, the Alaska Air one, like if it's maybe like under $20, it's probably a Wi-Fi fee. If it's over $20, then it's probably a travel charge. So, you could do something like that. But I never set up a rule for Intuit, for example, and it's still recognizing, it recognized this, it populated the vendor, and then it populated the account. Now, I'm curious if it will let me save something without a vendor name. Just curious. I actually would love it if it didn't allow me to save something without a vendor name, because I think having a vendor name for every single transaction will make your books better. So I really hope that that's the case. And then it doesn't look like it's allowing me to, which is great. Okay, I like that. Okay, so then whenever I click OK, then it goes and it's like considered reconciled. So for example, we just did a Squarespace one. That was the first time I added Squarespace on here, and then it recognized it as software and web. Perfect, really easy. We've already had a Hiscox insurance transaction in here. Easy, we've already had Ziply. I know it's internet, that looks good. Okay, now we're getting into a situation where there was some travel and there was some food. So this, I actually just set up like a restaurant. I just put like a generic restaurant vendor and I put it in here. We're gonna do that. This is another restaurant, travel, here. Now, if I had receipts and stuff, you can, attach those to the transaction by upload your files. So I can upload files here. Now, I think that the Xero has like an app, or it has like ways that you can send in your receipts. So anything that's over a certain threshold, whatever your policy is, you could save them to the transaction. But let's just go ahead for the purposes of this to get it done. We're gonna speed through this part. And then same restaurant and meals. And then see, it's recognized Brightside Cafe because I already had it once. So that's pretty great. And then this is another restaurant and this is another travel. Oh, now I just made a mistake. I went and I coded something to travel instead of to meals. So I think it was this one that I did that. If I need to change it, I can edit the transaction and then change this to meals. Just kind of showing you guys the real life thing that happens as you're bookkeeping for a month. So you might make a little mistake. It's okay. You don't have to panic. You can make it happen by just changing things up and finding the transaction and going in and editing it, similar to what you can do in QuickBooks Online as well. Now, I will say it's harder to do once you've closed the period. So, and I'll show you that when we say reconcile the period. Okay, and then what is it? This is nope, this is travel. And then here we are again, Alaska Air. It's saying, okay, this is Wi-Fi, that's fine. Apple is an office expense. The hotel, we have that here. This was a restaurant. Okay, so now that we've gotten to the end of the statement period, which was May 9th, I am going to go ahead and pause that. And then I'm going to go and look at our other bank accounts. So I can either just go in between the accounts here, or I can go up here to accounting and go to bank accounts this way if I want to see it visually, which one I want to do next. There was nothing to reconcile here. Here, a business savings account. Let's go ahead and just do this one real quick. And we're just reconciling through April. Okay, so we reconciled everything for April for that account, which is great. And then let's go ahead and go to the main checking. So again, we're trying to get April finished. So let's see here. Let's go to Intuit. So this is one here that I actually want to create a bankroll for. So if this is merchant fees, because this happens a lot. If I'm invoicing out of Intuit, they charge me a transaction fee. So I want to create a bankroll, and any conditions that match the payee equals Intuit. I'm going to take out this like number at the end because it is probably going to change every single time. And then if the description equals this, contains, let's do contains because that will make it a little bit better if there's like a reference fee or something else behind it. And then we need to, I don't need to set the contact. I don't need to allocate. I'm going to name the rule transaction fee. And then the account we want this to go to will be merchant fees. Okay. So let's go ahead and save that rule. Okay. So we have that done. So now it applied the rule. You can see that here, and I just need to click OK. And then this is from a client or customer. This was like invoice, service revenue. Okay, Stripe, sale of goods. We've got, these things have already happened before, so it's recognizing like, oh, this transaction looks familiar, I know what it is. It's my job as the bookkeeper or the person doing my own books, if I'm a business owner, to just review it and make sure it makes sense, okay? But this is all pretty easy. This was that credit card payment we had earlier, so you see how it said match? We created a transfer before, and now it's saying, hey, this is a match. And so we're clicking OK to that. And then this is that rule that's been applied again, but this is a transaction fee on money that was like a credit card fee, so it's higher. So that's why we didn't put a dollar amount limit on it. But the fact that we have Intuit as part of the rule and then transaction fee as part of the rule, it's recognizing it and it's putting it in the right place, which I like. Okay, and then like this is another, if we had been invoicing in Xero, the income would be matching to an invoice, but since we're not invoicing, we're just doing this as a, we're just doing this separately. And then all these things are just either applying the rule or they've been seen before. And we're just going through all of April and making that happen. Okay, here's a transfer from the savings account. So money came in from the tax savings account, and this is around tax time. So moving around money. And then this is another transfer. Actually, let's just create this because this is not an account that has been. So we're going to pretend this is an owner's draw. Just because we don't have all of the accounts associated with this one. So, and then we're just going to go through here and review these, which all look pretty good. So now let's see what else we have yet to reconcile. Let's see if we're reconciled for everything else here. We have nothing else to reconcile except for a few transactions in the credit card, which are, past the statement cutoff date. And then we have a few things in the tax savings account. So we'll just do those real quick. And then this is a transfer. So I actually ran into a little bit of an issue where it looks like we miscategorized something. So in the business savings account, I erroneously marked a bank transfer from bank transfer to the main checking, and it should have been going to the tax savings account. So I'm going to change this. We have an unreconcile, and then we're going to remove and redo. And then I'm also going to remove and redo this transaction. Okay, so let's go back to reconcile. So this is where you really want to look at like the actual bank statement, or, look at your details here. This should be a transfer to the tax savings account. Okay, and then what we will be able to do from there, and this would have been caught in the reconciliation, but now on the tax savings account, we have this matched. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to go to reconcile our period. When I'm ready to reconcile, I will go to create period here, and then it should default to the next day after the last statement finished. And so I will be doing all of April, so through April 30th. And then the opening statement balance should match the opening statement. I'm looking at my bank statement over here on my other screen. And so I can see that's the opening statement, and then the closing balance was 82.83. So I'm going to start reconciling period. And this is going to be really similar to how QuickBooks also does reconciliations. It kind of will auto check anything that happened during the period. One thing that I will just kind of note is that because I set up this account from scratch, that's showing a outstanding transaction here, but just kind of never mind that because I am setting up these accounts, like kind of trying to get them to a place of testing for you. So sometimes we need to make system entries, and there are a couple things like that. So I will deal with that on my own, actually. But you can see these are actually, I'm looking at my bank statement too, and there's only 3 transactions. It's these 3 that are here, so that makes sense. And the statement balance matches, so I'm just gonna go ahead and close the period. All right, and this is closed now, so editing this period will unlock all the transactions. So if I need to go back and make any changes, I'm gonna have to kind of unclose the period in order to make changes, because the system does not really like it when you close the period and then you try to go back and edit something. So even if it's like a coding error where you're like, hey, I need this into a different account, you're gonna have to go and unclose the period before you can make that. So make sure that you're really happy with your coding of your transactions before you close the period, just to make it easier for you as the bookkeeper or as the person in charge of your accounting. Okay, so let's go back to other bank accounts now, and let's reconcile the other accounts. So I'm gonna just go ahead and let's do the main checking, and I'm going to reconcile period. I'm gonna go to create period. We're going April 30th. That's the opening statement that matches my bank statement, and then the closing balance. And then we're going to start reconciling period. And then again, we've got everything recorded here just fine. And the balance matches here, so I can close my period. So once you have reconciled all of these accounts, then you're able to run your report. You could also run your reports before you reconcile them, which I actually would recommend doing in Xero because of that whole close period thing, that if you were like, hey, this is in the wrong category, I need to go and change that, you can do that before you actually close the period. So different from QuickBooks Online. You can do a bank reconciliation in QuickBooks Online, and then you can still go and like edit something after it's been reconciled, it will give you a little warning. But I would say with Xero, I would say review your financial statements first, make sure you're happy with the coding, and then reconcile afterwards. Because it kind of has, like we talked about, this sort of, it's reconciled as you click OK. So you see how the status says reconciled. It's this reconcile period. It's like using the wrong word almost. Like the reconcile period is when you close the period. So as you're adding transactions, it's kind of saying like, hey, this is reconciled, this is reconciled. It means like it's part of the accounting record. Things are looking good. There's no problems here. That's kind of like as it goes. But once you close the period, then you're kind of locking away that transaction a little bit. So that is going to be a difference between the QuickBooks and Xero as far as like how you review your financials and then when you kind of go and actually kind of lock it down with the reconciliation. If you're just wanting to make sure that you feel comfortable about the reconciliation, you want to get that done, you could always go ahead and reconcile the period, but then don't finalize it. You could just make sure it balances to zero and you could just save it for later as draft. If you're a bookkeeper and you're like, hey, I don't feel comfortable like even giving management financials until like I know that the bank accounts are looking okay and that they can be reconciled, which is good. I like that. But they might have a meeting with their CFO and they might change some coding of something. And if that's the case, it kind of makes my life a little bit more difficult. Then, you can kind of stay in that draft form. So a little bit of a little accounting nuance there, if you will. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how fast it was to do the bookkeeping in Xero. This was I literally took a Saturday, got it set up, did 3 months of bookkeeping for myself, and that took about 2 hours maybe for me to get it all set up and then to upload. I also it wasn't syncing with my Relay account for some reason, so I had to upload transactions, which took longer. So I was actually really satisfied with how fast it went, and the bookkeeping is actually really easy. I thought I really didn't like Xero, to be perfectly honest, but I actually had a really great experience. So I will be continuing to keep the books in Xero just to keep it running and to understand how to use it. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section below. And then if you are interested in trying Xero for yourself, remember that by using our code financialtechlab.com/Xero, you get 90% off for 6 months. And it does also help support the channel. So check that out, and I will see you in the next video. We're going to talk a little bit more about Xero before we move on to another platform. All right, see you next time. Bye.